Alright, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, Connor on Chain. So, I want to talk about mainly Solana and Sol meme coins today because they are just going absolutely nuts and they don't stop, nor do I think this is going to stop, at all anytime soon. Outside of maybe some minor corrections, I'm going to just bring up a bunch of different meme coins. Because today specifically has already been nuts. Just watching some new launches, and lower cap, micro caps have just been going off. So obviously we had the ETH ETF inflows, which I'll pull this up in a minute. But for the ETH ETFs, first day, it seemed like it was pretty good. Inflows 590 million, outflows 484, net inflows 100 million. So, supply increase of ETH this year is 155 million. The demand in one day is almost the same as supply in 2024. So overall, it seems like it was pretty bullish for day one. After looking into it, I've seen a lot of talk about, with the ETF as well that, recently it seems like Ethereum has been like inflationary, stuff like that. But personally, if you look back from when Ethereum finally went deflationary to now, still overall Ethereum is still fairly deflationary, but I definitely would like to see even more volume just over time. And personally, like I said, I think in my previous videos, I kind of expected ETH to really not do anything anyways once the ETF actually came out. But obviously the inflow has been good, but again, price action on ETH just hasn't shown literally anything at all. It's been sideways, like I said, as expected. Similar to like the Bitcoin ETF, just nothing really happened. The price is obviously very choppy, but I honestly expect similar short term for ETH. But we are gearing up for August, September, which again, looking back at previous cycles, that kind of time frame from August, September into October, November usually is when we've geared up for huge, massive runs, massive legs up of this, of every bull market. And like I said, we're kind of gearing up into that. So I think for ETH right now to still chop and do nothing, I think that's actually pretty good, because I think at some point within the next maybe few weeks to maybe a month max, honestly, I think we're going to start to see, the rest of this bull run kind of just start to get priced in. We're eventually going to see that swing to the upside, maybe by, like I said, August, September. I'd say probably in September, the best bet would be around that time. I would say things are definitely going to be heating up. If not, they should be by that time. But outside of the ETH ETFs, I did want to talk mainly about Solana today, because Solana's strength has just been insane, honestly, in the last few weeks. I mean, just this whole bull run itself, because if we also go to like the Sol to BTC, I don't have ETH to Sol pair up, but that's something else that I'm going to be starting to watch more. But it's just, to me, it's very, very apparent that I think Solana is just going to be the major chain in which we see unbelievable gains on. And not to say that Ethereum is not going to give returns, because, again, we have all these institutions now able to buy it, I think Ethereum as well will give huge gains no matter what. But I think Solana is just going to outperform it in every way. And in turn, the coins on top of Solana will outperform Solana itself, So I think it's definitely going to be just, again, from now over the next 6 to 12 months, I do think meme coins on Solana will probably be the best performing asset from now into the rest of the bull run. I know a lot of people think it's a trend. It's been a trend. People are going to stop meme coins and rotate into utility again. Personally, though, I don't know. As far as rotation, 100%, people are going to jump back into utility once ETH starts to move again. But I think You know, to think that Solana meme coins are just gonna die off once utility starts to get hype again, I think is completely wrong. I don't think that's gonna happen, just because of the sheer strength of Solana. You know, even on Solana too, some utility projects may do very well as well. That's something I've been looking into recently, and I'll probably make a video on that. You know, maybe over the next few days, maybe a week. Because there are a couple that I've been watching. There are a few major ones, but you know, like I said, I'm still very, very focused on Sol meme coins. I just think, you know, really good meme coins that have just a very strong community, cult-like vibes, cult-like community, are going to be some of the biggest winners just going forward. You know, because especially when you're dealing with meme coins, the main thing you look for is community, right? You know, maybe a lot of people might not know that, but for me, that is one of the sole factors that I look for when I find meme coins that are, you know, very much so undervalued, and meme coins that have potential to really grow. You know, I don't look at, honestly, almost anything else. If the community is absolutely nuts, they raid, you know, they're very active, you know, and eventually when some other influencers start to pick up on them, you know, eventually price will be priced in, you know, to the upside, hopefully. But, you know, usually it's going to be coins, and I have Mumu up here, I'll talk about it in a second, but it's usually going to be coins that have launched, they've had their hype phase. You know, initially most coins when they launch, they have like a hype phase, then they dump, they die out, sometimes for a few weeks, sometimes 2 months, and eventually if that community is still pushing and they're very strong, after that, you know, it's hype phase, you know, dump / consolidation phase, and then a recovery. And as you can see, kind of with Mumu here, it's been in kind of both here. It had its hype phase here. You know, it launched all the way back in March. You know, it had up only for a few days, till it finally died out, slowed down. But as you can see, you know, community was still very bullish, and it, you know, from here it's still just been consolidating and consolidating. So this didn't go through a full, you know, dump minus 90, 99% type, you know, thing, which not every coin does it, but for the majority, that's how I look at a lot of meme coins. I look at coins that have already launched and find what communities are somewhat ranging like this, or charts are ranging and communities are, you know, full throttle. I'm going to pull up one right now too that, you know, I don't really cover too often. I don't think I've ever talked about on the channel, but seems fairly strong. But right now, Mumu is probably one of my top conviction coins right now for the cycle on Solana. You know, a month ago, I wasn't paying attention to this coin at all. But like I said, it's been ranging. The community is very strong. You know, it's kind of like a Pepe themed. It's not like an actual Pepe character, but it, you know, it's Mumu the bull, kind of encapsulating the bull market, if you will. You know, there's not too much I can, you know, show you, tell you about it. You know, the Twitter's very active. And, you know, there are just a lot of people that know about the project. The mind share is huge. And like I said, this one I'm currently in. I want to be throwing a lot more in if it can drop any lower, which at this point, I don't know how much lower it's going to go. But I do want to see this come down and potentially, you know, have one more low bounce to then just rip into new highs. But again, I don't even know if that will happen. This may just start a new uptrend, you know, bounce. But Mumu, like I said, I mean, sitting just under 100 million, so it's definitely not a micro cap or a low cap. But, yeah, I think this is just primed to go, I think, over the rest of the bull run, at least a few hundred million, upwards of maybe $1 billion. You know, I feel like on Sol, especially with the attention aspect, there really aren't too many, you know, major cap or higher cap meme coins, you know, that have a ton of attention, or, you know, have like a huge mind share of like crypto Twitter. But I think Mumu is definitely one of them. So I think this is going to be a slow grind up, but, you know, patience always pays off with stuff like that. And obviously we got Retardio. And so, full disclosure, I actually sold my Retardio, guys, I wanted to tell everyone, because this was a, decent sized run up. My initial sell target for this first move to the upside was in between 120 to 150 million, and as you can see, it's kind of right there. But personally, I'm getting massive FOMO because, like I've claimed on the channel, this is literally one of my highest conviction coins in the cycle. And the fact that I even sold it is, to me, it's almost like against my own thesis. But at the same time, I've been working on, kind of changing up my entire strategy. As a coin is going up, you should be selling, trying to get out. As a coin is going down to the downside, that's when you're jumping in, or when it's bottomed out like this. But like I said, so, I sold up a little higher. It really hasn't moved too much since, so I'm not gonna lie, I've literally been contemplating just buying back in again, because I literally just don't want to miss the long-term run for this, and like I mean that when I say that this is a high conviction coin. Like literally Mumu and Retardio right now are my top two for the rest of the cycle. And like I said, for me to be out of Retardio right now is killing me, because all I want to do, the reason why I sold, literally was to just buy back lower if possible. But the fact that it is holding here, it could bounce, could come back down eventually, but that's literally what I'm waiting for if it does. But outside of that, like like I said, I'm killing myself based on FOMO, because I just want to be holding this. I almost would rather just buy back in, and deal with the volatility, because I know where this is going longer term. That's the thing. It's kind of like MOG as well. If I sold a pump, it's, you would have missed out on, what actually happened long term with MOG, ripping, and more ripping, right? I don't think it's just going to be up only. Obviously, no coin is right now, but, at some point it's probably going to continue up, have a nice correction, and then eventually it's going to rip well into new highs again. And like I said, I'm just trying to give you guys full disclosure. And again, too, just because I did sell, again, does not mean that I'm done with this coin. I'm out. I don't play this game like other influencers and other people. Usually when I find a high conviction coin, it's one that I'm going to stick with like 99% of the time. And I do talk about a lot of coins in the channel. But like I'm saying, I think Retardio is an absolute gem of a coin. But like I said too, it's been up. It's had a nice run to the upside. So I still would not be surprised to see, a fail and the potential break of structure of something like here. And then if this can come down, kind of wick, maybe to 70, 80 million, 60 million, and then continue its like next leg up, I would not be surprised to see that. And that's kind of what I'd be waiting for. But like I said, with this, if you guys are still holding it, like, you guys honestly should be holding it. To me, I think it's stupid of me to even sell, and try and follow a new strategy for myself, but at the end of the day, like I said, I always preach buy into the bottoms and, sell when things are up. And that's what I'm trying to do, even though this is probably one of the only coins that I literally would recommend people just don't do that. Just literally hold it and wait another 6 months. So again, if this was any other coin that, I've talked about or mentioned, it would be good to take profits and wait to buy back. But like I said, with Retardio, I'm kind of losing my mind that I sold, because I just want to be back into this coin, So like I said, there's probably a 70% chance I FOMO back in at some point very soon. But outside of that, Retardio and Mumu, like I said, are probably my highest conviction coins for the rest of the cycle, like literally going through the next few months. I'm going to bring up a bunch of, larger cap meme coins, in which, again, I don't hold the ones I'm going to bring up here. But again, I have conviction in them, and I believe they will do very well. But I'm not holding because, I don't want to spread all of my bags way too thin as well, especially on higher cap coins. I like to stick to maybe a couple higher cap memes that I know long term and I really believe in. But another one is actually Giga. You know, Giga is, to me, I still think it's got to pull back. Like, this is literally what I've been waiting for. This is kind of the same idea. I mean, Retarded obviously did not pump this crazy, but, you know, as you can see, like with Giga, it's still moving very strong. Like, I would literally like to see a huge pullback on this. Like, this is almost still holding the structure on the 4 hour. Just look on a daily chart, guys. You know, this is always something I like to tell people, you know, wait for a heavy correction on a daily. Like, I think if it can happen, you know, minus 50, minus 60, 70% dip, you know, that would be a time to then look to long-term scale into something like this. Because again, if you guys are in Giga and you haven't sold up here, I would recommend selling and waiting to buy back in if it does come down, because again, this has been a huge rip to the upside, you know. And where's that pen tool at? Yeah, like I said, it almost looks like it may eventually kind of break here. If it does something like this, you know, maybe it just runs like that. I wouldn't even be surprised to see if it does that. But that's the kind of thing you want to wait for, is some sort of dip like this, you know. But Giga is definitely strong. Again, I don't hold that one, but very strong meme coin in my opinion. Community is just nuts as well. One I've actually been seeing all over my timeline, specifically today for some reason, has been Nub. You know, it is up 50% on the day. But this is one that has a very strong community as well. But as you can see, this chart, this is literally in phase 2 of, you know, what I talk about for most meme coins. You know, phase 1, phase 1 we got this hype, you know, this hype momentum movement, which as you can see here on the chart, it lasted, yeah, maybe a week and a half. You know, kind of went up like here. It had some good moves to the upside, corrected very heavily. So I'm gonna draw it out too. So honestly, I just like making videos on certain coins, guys. Again, even if I don't hold them, you know, like we'll say this is the hype phase, and then you got the sell-off phase, the dump phase, whatever you want to call it. You know, where things just plummet, you know, from all-time highs. We'll make that red. And then what is the third part? Right here is, this is a very long consolidation, but the consolidation phase. And that's exactly where Nub is. And this is the kind of accumulation area I would look for to find, you know, literal gems, right? Gems of meme coins. So this would be a time now, I see a chart completely flatlined, right? Now I'd go into their Twitter. Nub replies their Twitter. If you guys want to look it up, you jump into their Twitter, check it out. You know, you can look up the ticker on Twitter, see who's talking about it. You know, they got their own memes going on, you know, their own kind of vibe. I think that's really cool. I like it. You know, seems pretty professional. You can check their website, Nubcat. But outside of that, you check the community. You know, just again, see who's talking about it. Are there major people talking about it? Does it look like, you know, everyone's getting paid to shill this? Are there a lot of organic people talking about it? You know, and for me at least, how I look, you know, I can kind of tell certain accounts, you know, if they are, you know, just LARPs, they get paid to just talk about meme coins. You know, like a meme coin kind of sends them a percent of supply or something like that, so they can just tweet about it and pump their bags, you know. Or if it's actually organic, like a lot of random people are just talking about it all the time. You know, you just check, you just look at all this stuff. Especially if you just find a lot of smaller accounts. Actually, this is on the top. Let's go to the latest. But and for me, like, the reason why I'm already bringing this up, and I know for a fact this is going to eventually run, is just because I've seen this on my timeline for months now. Not just today, it's just been overload on my timeline today, and that's usually a good sign for certain coins, because usually my timeline is very catered to stuff I look for and people I follow. So when a bunch of stuff leaks through, I know for a fact it's something to pay attention to. But yeah, you can just tell a lot of random people are just super bullish on it. This is a huge account, so I don't know about that one. But like I said, it's over time too, if you're on crypto Twitter all the time, you can kind of tell which accounts, which people, which influencers that constantly talk about coins, which ones seem like they get paid to promote meme coins, and which ones are actually organic, and eventually you'll just find just the right people to follow. I'll probably make a video potentially talking about certain influencers. I'll bring up like a bunch. The reason why I don't do that publicly on the channel is because again, I'm not trying to claim anything negative or positive about certain people right now. But anyways, this is how I look at most meme coins. If you draw it out, on a 4-hour scale, you got phase 1, huge rip, right? What's 160 million? The dump phase would be next, or the sell-off, and then the consolidation. With a lot of coins, this can look a bunch of different ways, but it's usually just when price kind of sits and bounces in some sort of range, even if it goes lower and lower. Another coin that's in this exact area is actually Stan, which is another reason why I'm still very long-term bullish on this coin. And it's sitting at 11 million market cap still, but this has gone through it almost twice though, which is very odd. I don't see this too often, but this would be considered, if we zoom out on the 4-hour, outside of like this major correction here over the last few months, if you just go to when it started, this kind of thing would be what I look for initially, right? Again, I could draw it out, but phase 1 would be right here. It was hype when it launched, didn't get too much attention, finally pumped, got a ton of hype, lasted about 3, 4, 5, about a week. Next, it just dumped to oblivion, dumped straight to zero. But then what happened after that? You get phase 3, where it just accumulates, consolidates for a while. This is when the community forms. This is when you analyze these meme coins. And from there, this went from, I think in between a couple million, all the way to 80, 90 million, almost 100 million in market cap. And then since then, it's just been coming down, which it's actually surprising how low this has gotten. But again, this is kind of like what I just talked about, like phase 1, 2, and 3, kind of just pulling it again. Phase 1, phase 2, this could kind of be a consolidation, but this is just a long-term slow bleed, which again, I don't see that too often, but I would consider like, consolidation somewhere right here. Because of how low it is, it looks like it wants to start a new uptrend here, which is good. So we can see a break above, 20, 25 million at some point for Stan. This is going to be a clear indicator that it's probably going to start moving again. Because this had another massive pump. Again, the sell-off here. You can even consider some of the sell-off here as well, just, slowly trending down. An easy way to tell if, a coin is in some sort of consolidation, or I'm sorry, no. An easy way to tell if a coin is, continuously going lower, is you want to just look at the higher highs, higher lows, or the lower highs and lower lows. If we're looking at the lows, in this case, obviously on the 4-hour, what happened with highest high here at all-time high, came down, it kind of broke the structure, clear structure break, just came all the way down, tried to go up, came back down, and what did it do? It reached another bottom, so it starting to make lower highs and lower lows. here, you know, you can kind of consider this internal structure because you got the lowest, you know, you got the lower low here, the higher low here. So you can almost like draw a box here. And since this lower high, I always mess that up. Since this lower high was never broken to the upside to potentially indicate like another uptrend, you know, this ended up breaking down, making another lower low. You know, so I know this might be kind of confusing, but honestly, if price just continues to break support levels constantly just over time and doesn't make new highs, usually it's just going to continue to go down. You know, same thing here. Even though this kind of basically had like equal highs, but it just can continue to go down, you know, kind of consolidated. This, you know, came back up a little bit, but this kind of failed and continued to go down. So, you know, it's not always super easy to point out, but again, I think this coin has just been consolidating for long enough at this point. And the reason why I like Stan though is their content is just top tier. You know, I've talked about it a bunch of times. I'm trying to think what other you know, good meme coins outside of like newer ones. I'm not gonna bring up any micro cap meme coins right now. You know, I've called a bunch or talked about a couple in the group over the last day or two. But this is Stan. You know, like they just got content literally daily, guys. Just super good stuff, you know. I'm just surprised this hasn't popped off more. But for me, that's literally my thesis for Stan, is because of their content and the Stanley Cup, the actual Stanley Cup. It's not affiliated with it in any way. You know, but most women, I don't say most women, but there are a lot of women, at least here in the U.S. that I've seen personally. They have the Stanley Cups. Again, not every woman, but a ton of women own them. You know, it's very, very known. At some point, I think this could have a rally. And, you know, just based on their content and what they're, you know, how consistent they are on Twitter, that's, you know, that's kind of my main thesis for why long term I feel like this is just going to be a slow trend up. But at some point, this will probably end up performing. It's kind of like Harambe. Because Harambe and Sol has been one of the most OG, just, you know, classic up and down, up and down. This whole chart has been consolidation. You know, again, this does happen not very often where, you know, an entire coin just consolidates, you know, for a long time, right? Another one is actually ticker Bitcoin, which has done the same thing, has just been sitting in the same range for a literal year. You know, it looks like it's finally got some strength. It may pull back, but I have a feeling this may break into new highs. Once it breaks into new highs, there's no telling where this can go. Ticker Bitcoin looks good. Yeah, you guys are just getting gems today. I'm just going to throw out a ton of good meme coins. SPX as well. You know, this one looks very good. Probably going to chop around, you know, previous high here, but 20 million. This is one of the most OG ETH meme coins as well. Kind of started like this entire, I don't know what you want to call it, like the culture coin type meta. There's literally MOG, SPX, and ticker Bitcoin, those three. Obviously, MOG ended up being the, you know, the outperformer. SPX had a ton of FUD back in like January. But the community obviously has stayed strong. Chart has been very good over the last few months, just continuing up. And like I said, we'll see if this breaks into new highs or if this continues, you know, just a trend sideways. You know, I don't know. But it seems like a good play. You know, even other ones on ETH, you got Joe, which I actually have not liked Joe for a long time, but I'm starting to come around to it. And obviously Pepe, but, you know, Pepe is just massive in market cap. I just don't think the gains are there in comparison to literally anything else on ETH. You know, if you're going to buy Pepe, I personally literally just think buy MOG. Market cap is like what, a fourth, fifth, sixth smaller, if probably more than that. And again, I think the mod community is way stronger than honestly any ETH meme coin. Ticker Bitcoin definitely competes though. Like I said, I'm just a Mog maxi, so probably the best ETH meme coin. Like I said, we've seen so many new coins just flying. You know, and so many of these come across my timeline every day. We even got type shit. This one I liked a lot. I never jumped into it. This one, as you can see, is starting to move. Well, actually, no, it's still completely dead. I take it back. But again, this is the thing, guys, right? One, type shit had its hype phase, right? That was phase 1. Phase 2 dumped all the way down to 0. This would be the area of consolidation you look into the community. Is this actually going to have a comeback? Or is this just going to consolidate, bounce a little bit, not really do anything? If the community is insanely strong, you know, all you got to do is just, you know, talk about it on the timeline, tweet it, you know, just have fun with it, right? And if you see the community is very active, you know, constant people are tweeting about random stuff, you know, then it could be one to potentially get into, you know, just hold, be patient, and like I said, honestly, to me, that's kind of like the fun of certain coins, especially if you find good communities when they're bottomed out. To me, I don't know, I love that. But again, again, this is not a shill for type shit. Do not jump into this because I'm telling you. This is just one I remember seeing, you know, about a week, 2 weeks ago. And it, you know, went pretty high, but obviously came down super hard. So I don't know. There's no telling if this is actually going to recover or not. But to me, this community is very culture coin driven. You know, I like a lot of coins that just aren't, you know, simple cats and dogs, right? Obviously, it's a cat coin here, but yeah, there's a little more to it. But like I said, I mean, there's brand new coins, guys, every day. It's nuts. And personally, I'm not one to constantly trade, you know, brand new coins left and right. We got Aura here. I don't know if I brought this up a while ago, but Aura. This I missed multiple entries on because I was waiting for too deep of a dip. Faded Aura. Again, you can't win everything, right? I actually bought into Aura under $1 million and then sold it for a loss. Big L. You know, again, I take so many L's too, guys. You know, I was in Giga Chad, literally at 600K. Took a loss. I think I had 1 or 2 SOL in there. You know, I'm like, things like that, it's like I wish you just bought it, forgot about it, you know, waited 3 months. You know what I mean? I swear, you're better off doing that with certain coins than just, you know, trying to make a couple SOL left and right. You know, outside of that, though, I feel like those are a lot of, you know, fairly strong meme coins that I've talked about. I know there are more. I'm trying to think if there's any more. Alright, this has been a 30-minute video, so I'm going to cut this here. I did not realize how long this was, so like I said, I'm cutting this here. I appreciate you guys watching. And mainly, though, you know, I want to just talk about with Sol. Right, Sol is just a powerhouse, guys, for the rest of the cycle. I do not think you should be fading Solana and meme coins at this point in the cycle. Because to me, it's just clear that a lot of retail attention, if not most retail attention at this point, is probably going to be with Solana meme coins, you know. So just pay attention to that. Watch some of those coins potentially that I talked about. And outside of that, I will see you guys in the next video. I appreciate you guys watching. Thanks.